Welcome to Mic Drop, the podcast where relevancy is irrelevant and we don't give a shit about your feelings.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, it's an honor and a pleasure to introduce my next podcast guests. But in reality, I've already introduced one of them, and his name is Chris Osman. We're bringing Chris and his lovely wife, Roz, back on the program because of some recent events that took place where he was actually in the news for some international reasons, which we're going to dive into. He was out here just a few weeks ago. I'm not going to reintroduce him because I already did in the previous part. We are going to dive right the fuck into some of the details. One thing I would like to mention first is that we appreciate you guys taking the time out of your schedule, you and Roz, for coming up here. I know you were in town anyway. I guess from the listener standpoint, just to build some backdrop, is that when we recorded the last episode, the one that you guys probably just listened to, what was it, 4 fucking days after you left here?
Yeah,
like you're in the
I literally think it was about 4 days later I was in a Haitian jail, hanging out, enjoying the local scenery. Yeah.
So imagine this, like I had no idea. I mean, we went out to dinner, you spent the night. We won't get into the B-roll that existed from the security cameras that you spent
Absolutely
the night.
not, no.
But you know, so
all I can say is those dogs are a little bit more aggressive at night than they are during the day.
It's the chunky peanut butter. If you do smooth, they're not as nibbly, but it's like a hazing thing. I do chunky, so they get the teeth in there a little bit.
They seem to enjoy themselves.
But I had no idea that he was going there, and so you know we record the fucking podcast. 4 days later, I'm watching fucking Fox News, and it's like, you know, 4 American security contractors, 2 Navy SEALs, Chris Osman are in a Haitian jail. It's like, wait, what the fuck? Like, like days after he left here. So we brought him back on. That's why we delayed the release of the initial one a little bit. We wanted to get that story and add it to it. So I'm going to just jump right into it. I'm just gonna have to ask, what in the fuck were you thinking?
So, well, that's a good question. But so what I have never publicly, talked about that I do security work, right? And now, and I just do it because I enjoy it, right? I mean, the deal, being out of the military and then carrying on into the day-to-day business. And, for anybody who has made that transition, it's not that I cannot survive in the civilian world and I want to eat my own pistol. I just get bored with everyday fucking life. So when somebody's like, hey man, you want to make a few $100 a day, or the Haitian thing was $1,000 a day, which for people in the security world, typically it's between $350 a day, depending on what you're doing, upwards of like $1,300 a day. Yeah. But those days are kind of done, man. The $1,300 a day type rates are almost non-existent. So $1,000 a day is a pretty steep rate. And all it was I, when I got into the security business, it was all like VIP protection, EP, so, people would know the Patriot Tour, like Marcus Luttrell and Taya Kyle. And, I was part of that security detail and zigzagged across the country with them for months. But there are tours on the weekend, and I would work, Monday through Thursday, and then, Friday hop on a plane, and I would go do advance with the guys, pick them up and do their thing. They do their tour, we'd fly back. So it's just, extra money for the family. And, I just really enjoy doing it. I mean, walk around with a gun and.
I mean, if it's that or Walmart greeter, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it is boring as shit. I mean, I call it being a butler with a gun. People think it's sexy, but you're really, picking people up from the airport, carrying their fucking bags and, driving them around and taking care of their kids and shit. So,
do you ever get the like, motherfucker, I wanted the double espresso, not the single, and I wanted almond milk? Like, do you ever get
I have gotten requests just like that of, hey, can you help me? Hey, I got to be for a book signing. Yeah. I'm late. Sorry, man. Anyway, you can help me iron my shirt. And you can't say no because they're a client, but they're not working for me, right? Yeah. I can't just tell them to go fuck themselves.
That's all. I mean, to me, on the drink tip, like that's a pretty much a guaranteed way to get your sack dunked in the fucking double espresso if you're a dick, like. Yeah, making a request like that. I mean, you ever teabag anybody's stuff or what?
Haven't teabagged anybody's stuff. I have. I mean, like we could do a podcast just on bullshit behind the scenes stories of some of these clients, but it is I can't eat at Subway. I can only get Quiznos type shit. Hey, can you run and get me green tea? I told them I wanted tea, but it's not the green tea that I like. And and it turned, like I said, it's being a butler with a gun, really, at the end of the day.
Nuts.
And it does. And you really have to set aside the, your personal feelings and just say, okay, man, look, I'm representing a client that hired me to be here. So if you tell people to go fuck themselves or choke out a client, you know what I mean, which has happened. I mean, I know friends of mine that have literally laid out clients' kids, like they would be down in Mexico as an example. And, hey, take my kids out in town. They want to go partying. Well, they take the fucking Mystery Machine and the whole gang out into town, and these kids are like fucking 16, 17, 20, you know what I mean? And they act like fucking assholes. And then, you got a team guy that'll just blast one of them. And they're like, hey, man, we got to send you on the plane, man. You just knocked out our client's son. He's like, yeah, he's being a fucking dick and grabbed me. So I punched him in the face. I personally think those stories are hilarious. Yeah, I haven't gotten to that point. I tend to keep it under wraps.
I don't think there's enough of that. I mean, violence is a universal lange. I
agree.
Nothing shuts down entitlement like a fucking pimp slap, and you can make a meme out of that one.
Yeah.
So in terms of this contract, like, did somebody approach you, say, hey, we got this fucking gig? Like, how did that shake out?
I did. So I got called by a security company, and they wanted me to go to Haiti. The original text I got, and I should have brought my phone in here, but the original text was, hey, can you go to Haiti tonight and do security for people who are leaving the island? So, when the embassy evacuated non-essential personnel and had all the riots and shit, the original contract that I was on to do this was to fly in and to escort people down to the airport so they could get on their private jets and leave. And even though Haiti literally is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, they do have some very rich people that live there. And, they were trying to leave and, get their kids out of there and fly to wherever the fuck they were going. So the idea was that we would land, go to their houses, watch them, help them put their shit in their car, get in the butler with a gun, and be the presence, the security presence for them, as and take them down to the airport, drop them off, and they take off, and that's it.
So I mean, in terms of, you probably don't want to or can't disclose what group, maybe you can, but I'm curious, like, kind of from a big picture.
Oh, I could tell you, because they're fucking turds.
Yeah, well, feel free to blast them, but I'm like, did two things. Did you think right out of the gate, like, this seems fucking suspect, and B, like, was there a government sanction aspect? Like, was there any liaisoning between a State Department, or was it just total civilian? Like, were there any red flags? You're like, fuck, wait a minute. Like, we're going down there because you were armed, right? Like,
well, I flew in on a commercial aircraft. So a lot of the guys flew in on a private jet. I didn't bring any firearms, something like that. I brought my kit, my armor, my holsters and stuff like that. But I didn't bring any weapons, which were to be provided, which isn't unlike anything that other people do. It's kind of rare that you're going to be cruising into a foreign country with your fucking Pelican. It's not like in the military, man. You're not just going to roll in. You're like, oh man, there's my Pelican case, and it's not like that. So, anyway, so the idea was nothing. There was no red flags because it was doing security work for people leaving the island, right? Yeah. Now, once I got there, though, we go to the hotel, and we're all kind of hanging out at the hotel that night. And I meet the team for the first time, right? A couple of guys I had known previously, and everybody else were, strangers to me. A couple of, we all became really, really close, obviously, because we were hanging out in Haitian prison for fucking 4 days. But
turns out you needed a pry bar to get you guys apart by the end.
That's true. That's very true. So the next day, we were supposed to go meet the president of Haiti, right? President Moise. And so I kind of like turned my head to one of the other guys that I knew, and I was like, what the fuck, the president? I thought we were like taking old ladies to the airport and their kids and shit. And so my belief today is that I was lied to, that the guys that we were with were lied to. I think that there was a bigger picture of, hey, we'll just get these guys here and then, try to get them to do shit. Obviously, I wouldn't participate in any dumb shit because it's just not who I am. But anyway, so we get there, and the meeting with the president like falls through. Shockingly, right?
Well, all right. So before you get into kind of the details of that, I'm still curious the leading up to that. I know, like, for me, like, I get texts from buddies and shit. They're like, hey, we got this fucking gig, spinning up. Similarly, not real often these days, but if I'm putting myself in your shoes, I'd be like, okay, well, who are we fucking doing this for? Like, I'm assuming
Sure.
was it somebody that you trust well enough to just be like, yeah, fuck it, I'll jump on a plane at a moment's notice. Because
Right.
for me, I'd be like, well, what's our fucking contingency plan? Like, who's bailing us out if we get fucked up? Like, what are we really doing there? Who's paying us? Like, is there a contract? I don't know. I mean, maybe that's
So there was a contract in place with Patriot Group Services. And Patriot Group Services has been doing contracts for infrastructure and security for about 6 years. The guy that hired us through this contract was working for Patriot Group Services. He's a former Marine who's been in Haiti working along with a couple of the other guys. So they had already been doing work there, and I knew one of the guys, and that's how I ended up on it. So it was just hey, we need extra people to go, but because I work for myself, which is how I kind of get some of these is as the phone rings and you get text messages and hey, can you leave in a week?
He got asked and left on the same day.
Yeah.
So it was like a very short time frame. I mean, within 6 hours, I would say.
Yeah, probably like 6 hours.
I mean, I guess maybe I'm just older. I've been fucked over enough, to where like I'd be like, well, fuck, wait a minute, but
well, and we got paid half up front before,
no shit.
So the deposits were already made, and then we got confirmation through emails.
I got you.
And so it was a real thing, and
you trusted the dude that approached.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. Sorry. Go ahead. So do you want to mention anything else about the lead up to that?
No, I mean, it was pretty boring. Like I said, I was literally shopping, I think, at the mall or something.
We couldn't find his passport.
Couldn't find my passport. That was another good one. So I was like throwing all my shit, and I literally had all my bag and my kit and everything, and I was like, fuck, man, I can't find my passport. And I don't know why. I had my passport card, have all the kids' passports, and so we ended up going downtown San Diego and got a replacement passport.
Holy fuck.
Same day within like 2 hours. You go in there like, hey, I lost my passport. Here's my passport card. You fill out the paperwork and hey, come back in 3 hours, $200,
That's awesome.
and bang.
So that should have been the first red flag.
Yeah. Well, how
That
long,
was,
How long was it supposed to be for?
10 days.
10 days.
10 days, yeah.
I got you. All right. So you land, and was there any type of liaison like, hey, when you get in, so-and-so is going to pick you up?
Right. So the company that hired me, he was there, this guy named Talon. So he picked me up at the airport, and that's when Chris McKinley was there, and I saw him for the first time. I was like, holy shit, what's up, dude? He and I were buds together, obviously. So that, I just felt comfortable. It wasn't crazy busy at the airport. There was nothing really going on. We left and, got a quick little tour of Port-au-Prince in Haiti, which is a beautiful, beautiful place. Yeah. It's like Somalia, except it's a shithole. It's a fucking shithole, man.
God damn. Which is interesting because I know the Clinton Foundation has dumped hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm surprised that it didn't get to where it was supposed to go. That's so odd.
Well, I think that's how we ended up getting fucked and get tied in and goat roped into all this political mess because the next day literally I was in jail with all these guys and it was all tied back to the prime minister. So. Anyway, so the next day we go to the client's house, and he was in this compound, had 4 or 5 houses in there, and 15-foot iron gate with this barbed wire and shit. And he had armed guards outside that let us in, and we're in there hanging out. But the meeting with the president fell through, so we just hung out at his house, just like we're doing here, And towards the end of the day, they had another guy coming in that needed to be picked up from the airport. So myself and Chris were going to go down there and grab him and then just go back to the hotel, right? That was like, there was literally nothing to do. And we were already having discussions about flying back because there was no, there was the mission of escorting people to the airport was gone. Yeah. And then it turned into, hey, we're going to, the client's house that we were at, this guy named Josh, we were going to take him down to the Haitian National Bank so he could sign some paperwork. And that's where this whole, misappropriations of funds and all this other stuff, I think happens, and why we were kind of like, I won't say duped because that's probably not the right word, but once we were all there, probably going to be used just as security for this guy to go sign this contract. So he and this guy, Jean-Louis Fritz, whose vehicles that we had, all are tied in with the president of the country. So as we get into the vehicle to leave, fire up the GPS, it finds itself, just like a typical GPS does. but it can't see the roads. It doesn't have access to the street signs. It's just a fucking blue screen, right?
It turns out Siri doesn't know how to recalculate and pour a fucking print. Huh?
It does not. I can tell you, it does not. That thing was fucking. Yeah, Siri was like, "Fuck you, leave right now."
Yeah. Did you? I'm assuming you brought your cell phone. Did you have coverage? Like, did it work down there? Could you?
Well, the cell signal had to obviously switch to the in-country cell, but it was intermittent at best, so it was unreliable.
Did you guys bring a sat phone or no?
We had comms between ourselves, but no sat phones. Yeah. But the cell signals worked. I mean, the cell phones worked. We had fired up WhatsApp. We were doing all that type of stuff. But and we had communication between the vehicles. So because the fucking GPS couldn't find itself, and we were literally on the ground for 18 hours, 20 hours, something like that. The situational awareness, you know how it is, man. You got to be in country for a minute driving around before, if the GPS shits the bed, you can kind of,
know where the fuck
you're going, because all the streets look the same, all the people look the same. It's just shit hole after shit hole, and you're like, wow, that's even a bigger shit hole. Go down 3 shit holes, take a left, do a U-turn, take a right on the bigger shit hole. It's kind of how you get directions around there. And so the other vehicle is going to go and do a advance on the route to the bank. So we're going to be coming back the next day, picking this client up, taking him down to the bank so we can go sign these fucking paperwork. And then from there, it was really, really talked about of just us going back in a couple of days, but we were still going to get paid because we, jumped through our asses to be there. Yeah. It seemed like what we were hired to do completely fell through, and it was like, hey, well, since we're here,
handle this.
But the guy that was paying us to be there was the guy that wanted to go to the bank, right? Yeah. So he was the prime on the contract with the Haitian government. You're not just going to tell the dude to go fuck himself, right? Yeah. It's like, okay, you don't want to go to the airport, you want to go to the bank, no big deal, right? Who gives a shit? It is what it is. So because the GPS wasn't working, I asked the interpreter and the lead driver in the other vehicle. I said, hey man, how far is the airport from the bank? And he's like, oh, it's like 5 to 8 minutes. I'm like, cool. Well, this thing shit the bed. So what we're going to do is going to follow you guys, and you guys are literally just doing a route recon. He's like, yep, we're just going to swing by, do some videos out, through the windows, and snap some pictures, and then that's it. Okay, cool. And then that turned into, a 4-day shit show. But so we get down to the bank, and about a quarter mile from the bank, the lead vehicle stops, guy gets out, and this kid, Dustin, who owns Patriot Group Services, he's, they're the ones with the contract, is like, hey, I want to go up, talk to the guys at the bank.
So the fucking owners of Patriot were there with you guys?
Yes.
No shit.
Yeah. Because they do, like I said, they've been going back to and from that for 6 years. Yeah. And he's really good friends, I guess not good friends enough, but knows the bank. They go in and out of the bank all the time and helping them with infrastructures and, whatever shit they're doing.
Yeah. And so, all right, so you guys pull up and fucking...
So he jumps out to go talk to the guys at the front door of the bank. And there are, armored cars there and guys out with like Galils and Uzis and...
like some shit out of a movie.
Yeah, some shotguns. But, the armored car isn't like what we're used to. When I say armored car, it's like a Brinks armored truck.
Yeah.
Right? So that was like kind of blocking the entrance to the door. So they pulled up right in front of that thing, and we were sitting across the street. And, they get out, and they were talking to the guy for like 10 minutes. And they're, okay, man, thanks a lot. And, there's zero drama. And so they leave, and we just follow behind them to go to the airport. And probably, it must have been 5-6 minutes later, as we're just driving, a police truck with maybe like 5 or 6 guys pulls up next to us and asks us to stop. So we're like, all right. So we stop.
At this point, were you like, what in the fuck?
Yeah. Because I was like, obviously, we stick out like dog's balls, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I obviously them getting out of the vehicles, but there's no stopping it, right? You can't, like, what are you going to do, man? Jump out of the, choke his ass out, Yeah.
So at this point, you're in 3 vehicles, 4 vehicles?
2 vehicles.
2 vehicles. And at that point, like, all of the weapons and shit were in the trunk, right? Or did you guys...
No, the weapons were in the vehicles.
So you guys...
The weapons were between the 2 vehicles. So we did have guns, yeah.
Like on your person?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we had a few M4s in each car. Each guy had a handgun. And when they roll up and stop us, they literally like look in the window. They're like, cool. And they seeing a gun on somebody in Haiti is like a barbecue stand in Texas. They're fucking everywhere, right? There's,
it's not a big deal.
No, not a big deal at all.
Was there any either pre-discussion of, like tactics wise, like, hey, if we get contacted, like this is kind of our ROEs, like don't shoot unless fired upon, or like, was there any kind of...
Right, because we weren't in a offensive...
Totally defensive tactics.
Yeah, totally defensive tactics. So it wasn't a, hey, let's shoot first and ask questions later.
Yeah.
I was in a position to just shoot through the window and start dropping these. I mean, they were literally from me to you, and I could have just started opening fire. And a lot of people were like, oh, you should have just fucking started shooting, bro. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool that you say that, but the reason why we're having this discussion and I'm not hanging from a fucking tree in Haiti is because I didn't.
Yeah.
And I can't emphasize enough that I'm not a private military contractor and I'm not a mercenary. I'm not a murderer. So I'm not going to shoot some fucking cop just because he stops me to ask me, why I ran a red light. You know what I mean? It's just not what I do.
That's the older, wiser Chris right there. Now, 20 years ago,
20 years ago, I would have shot every motherfucking one of them.
Oh, Christ. At this point, like from the time you landed until as you're, in the story right now, had you been talking to him at all?
We were chatting on WhatsApp the whole time.
So did you have an idea of it was kind of a shit show and like...
Well, he sent me a message and said, hey, we're going to meet the president later today. And,
he said, honey, that's great.
Yeah. He sent me some pictures of...
I was at a gas station posing with some cops.
And
so
I was
he
like,
sent
some
hey, dude,
pictures.
like take some selfies. And I was sending her selfies of me posing. I mean, it was very, like I say, man, no one was fucking with us. And then this shit went south real quick.
Yeah. Okay. And he sent me some pictures of how it looked there. And it's very sad because, Haiti may be a shithole as in the infrastructure and everything, but
even
the
the
people
president called it a shithole. Remember that when Trump got in trouble because he said Haiti was a shithole? He wasn't lying, folks.
Yeah.
But the people are not bad people. It's sad of what's happened there. So he sent me pictures because you think about the Clinton Foundation, and we're all thinking the same thing. Like, where is all this money and where is all this help? But he sent me some. We were WhatsApping all day and until about 2:49,
and then it went radio.
And then he went radio silence.
All right, so they pull up, they tell you to stop. They're looking in the windows. Then what?
Yeah. So the only one who can speak Creole, so they speak French and Creole there. The only one who could speak Creole was the lead driver, and he's a local Haitian, right? And so
I thought you spoke French. No,
I do not.
I'm fucking with you. I know you don't.
I say baguette, croissant. That's about fucking as close as I get. Brie, that's French cheese.
Oui, oui.
Oui, oui.
I got a oui, oui.
So he starts talking to them, or to the cop, or whatever, and he's basically telling them who we are, who we work for, and so the guy's like, okay, no problem, man. We're gonna let you guys go. I just got to call somebody. So the best way I can describe it is if you were driving in any town here in America and the brand new patrolman rookie pulls you over and for running a red light, and you tell him, hey man, no, my dad is the town mayor. So he's like, oh, okay, man. Well, let me just call to make sure it's cool. But then his patrol sergeant shows up, and the patrol sergeant doesn't know you. And he's like, well, let me call the lieutenant to make sure it's cool. So then the lieutenant comes, and then they keep coming with more dudes, right?
Yeah.
So this goes on for almost 2 hours. We just sat there. No one was pointing guns at anybody. There's no screaming, no yelling. I mean, all the news media bullshit that was out there is completely wrong. It didn't go down like that.
Yeah, I mean, the insinuation at best, or at least, I guess, was, I mean, like my interpretation of how it went down is it's like fucking, dudes are like it's fucking Black Hawk Down, and like dudes are fucking, you got 9 barrels pointed at you, and you're getting drug out and dragged to the fucking I mean, I was just like, holy fuck, dude, I was fucking worried for you. I'll tell you that.
Well, I mean, it was if I said I wasn't nervous, I would be lying my ass off. I literally thought to myself as I was sitting in the back seat, I was like, fuck, man, is this how it ends? All the shit I've done in my life, I'm like, this is it? Haiti?
It's a long fucking 2 hours, huh?
Yeah, long 2 hours. But they were super cool to us. We got out of the car a couple times, taking a piss. There was banter back and forth, dialogue, guys giving us the thumbs up, and there was nothing really to be stressed out about as far as, a standoff with the police. There was never a roadblock. They literally just pulled up and said, hey, we want to talk to you guys. Well, we, still had our cell phones, and we were calling the other guys that were on the detail with us, and which was our team leader, and I'll call him our OIC, let's say. So as officer in charge.
That's right. You civilian dicks.
So they showed up and they start talking to the guys as well. And they're like, no, man, I'm the prime on this contract. You know, and he literally has his cell phone. He's like, look, let me show you the contract, but it's in English, so they can't fucking read it, obviously. And
the client was there too, right?
yeah. So one of the guys showed to try to like help us out. Cause like I said, the people that we were with were very, very well connected all the way up to the president. And so it just got to a point where there were so many police officers out there, and then the next thing you know, like their police chief, you know, he shows up. He was probably at the fucking club hanging out because he rolls up in there in flip flops, white pants, had on a blue polo shirt, and he's got like a cig, but it's like stuffed. He didn't even have a fucking holster, right? It's literally like he left the club, and somebody was like, "No, you got to come down there." He's like, "Fuck, what? Where are they at?"
Yeah,
and he came down there to talk to all of us. And so he's like, look, man, we're just waiting for one phone call. You guys will literally be out of here in 10 minutes. And at that point, which is, I thought, rather odd, and it pisses me off to this day, is that our team leader, who's also a fellow SEAL, his name is Mike Phillips. And when he introduces himself, he says this with 2 L's, fucking weirdo. Anyway, so he's a former police officer, something like that, out of Maryland. And so he was down there as our team leader. So him and another guy jumped in a vehicle and left us there.
What?
Yeah. So the Marine that was our OIC literally says to him, he's like, "Hey guys, I'm not fucking leaving. These are my guys. I'm not going anywhere."
Dude just fucking bolted. Did he even say they were leaving?
No, he was standing outside my window because I was in the back seat of the second vehicle. And I looked at him. I go, "Mike, what's going on, dude?" He stared at me like he didn't even know who I was. Didn't say a word. He just jumped in the vehicle and they drove off.
God damn, have you seen him since?
No. So
what the fuck?
No. So what really fucking pissed us off is later we found out that they went back to the hotel we were all staying at, and Mike cleaned out his room and left all of our shit there. So the rooms were bought by them. They were under there. So they had access to all of our rooms, and they literally were, so concerned with saving themselves that they literally fucking bailed on us.
How were they able to just leave?
Because they weren't part of the initial stop, and they didn't have guns in their car.
Jesus. Fuck.
But one of them, my boy Kent was like, "Fuck you guys, I'm staying here. These are my guys. I'm not going anywhere." Right? Yeah. And it's cool. Kent speaks French, so that was really cool. And even he was told, "Hey guys, we're literally just waiting for another phone call," and I think it was from the director of, I want to say like national security, but I know that's not the correct term, but something very high level like that within the government. So
National Police?
Yeah, I don't know. No.
I think that's who went and got you when you were in the jail. But
yeah, the National Police came to pick us up later on. Yeah. So it starts getting dark, right? So the police start getting nervous, and we're like, "Guys, what the fuck's going on?" Like, "Well, it's getting dark." And this is through all the interpreters, right? So they're like, "Well, it's getting really dark. It's not safe to be out here." And I'm like, "But you're the motherfucking police, man. You're the one holding us. The fuck you talking about?" Like, we don't mind being out here at night. We don't give a shit. Yeah. All right, what are you talking about? I'm like, "Yeah." And there was crowds amassing at both ends of the street. So this block was like, no one was coming down. And there's probably like 200 people at one end of the street, 150, behind us. And they're like, "Well, the riots are going to start up, but it's really not safe for us to be out. We got to get the fuck out of here." And they're like, "Well, you go, we're going to all go to the police station and wait for this phone call so we don't get fucked with out here on the street, and then we're just gonna let you guys go." And we're like, "Whatever, man." So getting ready to leave, everybody's in the cars, and all of a sudden, like, I call him this police chief, right? He jumps out and he's on his cell phone. He's like, yeah. So then he hangs the phone up and then starts screaming fucking orders, and all the police, man, like all 35 of them or whatever, bail out of their vehicles and surround our vehicles and start screaming at us.
Fucking Christ.
In French and Creole. And I thought I was going to get killed right there. I was like, "Oh, what the fuck is going on?"
This is after 2 hours, right?
Just sitting there chilling with them for 2 hours, right? So,
God damn.
So they order us out of the vehicles and search us, and they didn't give a flying fuck about all the concealed knives and everything else that we had. They take the Glocks and the long rifles out of the vehicle, and then they're like, "Okay, my friend, okay," and then let us back in the cars. So it literally went from 0 for 2 hours, spikes to 100 for a minute and a half, and then back down to 0.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah. I was like, "You could have just asked me. I just handed it out the window. Like, you don't have to fucking put a Galil to my face."
Yeah. God damn.
Yeah.
So I mean, at that point, like when they were yelling and shit, were their guns drawn and fucking?
Their guns were drawn, shoulder. Like they were,
Goddamn.
waiting for us to do something stupid. And I was like,
was your asshole puckered up into your throat or what?
oh yeah, I thought I tasted the seat foam I was on, like it was sucking the fabric through my asshole, and I was like, like what kind of threat is that?
Fucking anteater.
You know you liked it.
Yeah. I do have a weird fascination with fabric. I don't know what that's all about. But
It tightened everything up. It's all good.
Yeah.
So, all right. So they go back down to zero, and now.
So we go in this caravan. So there's a couple vehicles in front of us. There's our vehicles, which are driving ourselves. You know, they've got vehicles flanking us, and we just cruise at about 10 miles an hour to the police station, which is maybe 2.5 miles away. We park the cars, get out, and we're all just like hanging out in the compound. They take all their gear off, and everything's totally chill. And we go up into this like classroom area, which is what everybody saw us on CNN and the camera phone because they brought the media, but that's when we were hanging out. And we're up there now for, 2 fucking hours or something like that. And they got all the guns and everything else laid out in all of our bags and kit or whatever. So the media shows up, and they're down out in the parking lot. We can see them through the window. And, they show up and it just says, if I can, media, whatever. And we're like, oh, God, man, this thing's blowing up. And I was like, and of course, I'm like, yo, Kent, I thought we were going to be leaving after a phone call, man. What the fuck is going on? He goes, dude, I have no idea what's going on at this point. So then a 2-vehicle detail shows up. Guys jump out, and you could tell they were professional and from the government or whatever because they're like opening the door and they're like legit doing, security, and get this guy upstairs. He pulls this like police chief guy around the corner.
That guy was in a suit that came in, right?
The guy was in the suit, yeah. Looks at us, speaks English. He's like, hey, evening guys. Totally chill. I was like, hey, all right, somebody who speaks English, we're out of here. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is cool. He's the guy that's going around the corner to tell them to let us go. Yeah. But he wasn't. He's the one that said, fuck these guys, lock them up.
Yeah.
Because he leaves, and they jump in, and they take off, and then they come around the corner, and they're like, hey, we need you guys to put your hands behind your back. And it's when they put us in handcuffs for the first time. So from the time we were stopped until we got put in handcuffs, it's probably around 6 hours. 4 to 6 hours, something like that.
God damn.
But that's when the cell phones get taken. I mean, everything gets fucking taken at that point. And so then they let the media in there.
That's fucking classic.
Yeah, so we're like chained up again, not chained up, we're like handcuffed against the wall like dickheads. And then I said to Ken, I go, hey man, how about that phone call, bro? He's just like, oh man, I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So, and he had been there before. A couple other guys that were with us had, one of them actually lives there, and there was another guy that, like I said, had been doing contracts there before. So, and they were like, hey man, we have no idea. We've never experienced anything like this before. So I think we might be fucked. And I'm like, no shit. You think we're fucked? It's kind of weird. What gave you that impression?
Handcuffed and in prison. Yeah, I would have never.
Yeah, not a big deal. It's funny now because it's over. But at the time, man, I was like, man, this fucking sucks.
Yeah.
So when they bring the media up there, one of the law enforcement guys came up with all the license plates off the car, and he like drops them by all the gear, and then he starts speaking in Creole, starts talking to the camera like, oh, the reason why we stopped them is because they didn't have license plates on the vehicles, and all this shit. And they started asking us who owned the vehicles, because they ran the plates and the serial numbers, and it ended up being this guy Jean-Louis Fritz.
They already knew.
Yeah, I'm sure they already knew at that point. So I didn't even know who the fuck that dude was. I never met the guy, and so it just really just became this blown out of proportion thing, and the law enforcement guys somehow gave to the media that we had taken the license plates off the car. That's why they stopped this, that they thwarted a bank robbery, that we were there to rob the bank. And I laughed because the Haitians' money is called gold.
Yeah.
It's not even gold. It's so fucking worthless. It's gold.
Yeah.
And I said, man, you would need a 40-foot shipping container of their money to equal what I had in my wallet. I'm like, why the fuck? If I was going to rob a bank, man, I would just do it in San Diego. I'd just hit Wells Fargo, So that was just like bank robbers. And it was like, what the fuck? And so the media's up there and they're, filming us and doing all this shit. And then at that point, the national police came, and they came in like the anti-riot vehicles with all the protected glass and all the bars and shit. And they were fully kitted out, man. They had a nice kit.
And at this point, there's 4 of you?
There's 7 of us.
7 of you.
Yeah. Because the 8th guy took off, he E&E'd. So I was going to tell you, that fucking team guy, no shit, like the whole never leave a man behind.
Yeah.
He forgot about that, apparently, because he fucking left us. Not only did he go back to the hotel and grab his shit, him and another guy drove to Dominican Republic and flew back to America.
Oh, shit.
Left us, man. Just said, fuck you guys.
Instead of going to the embassy.
They didn't go to the embassy.
Saying, hey, there's U.S. citizens in fucking prison right now.
Fucked up shit.
Showing him a copy of the contract and saying, hey, man, you know, it was an Operation Save Yourself.
God damn. That's some
Total
shit.
pieces of shit. Anyway, so the National Police show up, and as they came upstairs, they got the balaclavas on, the helmets, you know, full plate carriers, but they're carrying, you know, SCAR lights. They had M4s, aim point micro T-dot, and I'm like, these motherfuckers are obviously funded by America. Magpul slings.
All of our industry friends.
All of our industry friends. So I'm like, I think I know the guy that sold them that. I'm like, you
You see
motherfuckers.
some Chris Osman designs fucking.
Yeah, I'm like, I think I made that fucking holster, dude. What the? Hey, bro, is that 1,000-weight Cordura?
Yeah. Fucking Christ.
Yeah, so
that's great shit.
so out of the handcuffs we go, and they put us in the zip cuffs, and I don't know who's training those Haitian motherfuckers about how to handcuff people, but I think they literally are trying to cut your hands off with either the handcuffs or with the zip ties. I mean, my hands are still numb. Like I have actual like nerve damage in my hands.
Damn, really?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Fuck.
Because we were in handcuffs that night for 6 hours, and they were just like, and I believe what happened was once they started running our names and our passports and, you know, Googling us or whatever the fuck they did to find out who we were, I think they went into a little bit of panic mode because of our backgrounds. Mm-hmm. So they were probably a little bit nervous, thinking that we were going to somehow do a fucking first blood and break out of there. And I'm like, I don't even know where the fuck I'm at, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So we get transferred and we get put in these vehicles, and as we leave the compound, there's people out there banging on the fucking vehicles, rocking them, chanting "Death to America, kill Whitey."
Get the fuck out. Really.
Yeah, because the way that it works, they don't have a reliable media system. You know, not that ours is that much better, but at least we have television.
Yeah.
They don't have fucking cable, and, you know, all of it's done by Twitter. So as soon as they start tweeting out that they got Americans held and they were there to rob a bank, we were there to assassinate the prime minister and do all this weird shit.
And kill Haitians.
Yeah, kill Haitians.
Yeah.
They started like rioting against that.
God damn. During when you first got there and up until this point, was there ever like the way it happens here where they're like stripping you down and checking your ass and like making sure that you don't have shit, or did they kind of leave you guys alone?
They left us alone. There was no fingers in my ass, which is disappointing. Kidding.
At least like to have a finger sweep.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So so there's no fingers and asses, but they did the whole search, took everything off of us. But we were in our clothes, and but I will say this: that the people of Haiti were super nice to us. Like there was never any trouble in the street. There was
until they knew you were there to rob a fucking bank.
Until they believed we were there to kill the prime minister and rob a bank. That's when the attitude kind of changed a bit.
Yeah.
No, they probably. I think on the Twitter, one of the first things that came out, because I guess earlier in the week there was issues with hired guns with the protesters.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they thought you guys were these hired guns to hurt protesters.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, and I think 2 Haitian protesters were shot.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Earlier that week.
Earlier that week, probably a couple days before we got there. Mm-hmm. So I believe, looking back at all this, that what was being said about us was that we caught the guys that are killing Haitian protesters. So it turned, like I say, man, real quick from a little smoke to a raging forest fire.
Because the people are good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so your hand are zip tied like a motherfucker. They start chanting, and at this point, they're moving you.
They moved us from the little police station that everybody saw us on the media, and then they moved us to their national police headquarters, which ironically is literally right next to the fucking commercial runway in Port-au-Prince. So all day and all night you could hear planes taking off, and you just want to fucking kill yourself. You're like, why am I not on one of those planes? This sucks. This fucking sucks.
Yeah.
But when we get there, I'm the first one you led down this hallway, and they're just, and it's, man, to say that it needs an update would be an upgrade, an update, whatever the fuck. is an understatement.
Chip and Joanne Gaines should go there.
It looks like a fucking Pirates of the Caribbean prison or what?
Yeah, it's bad. It's fucking horrendous. It's horrible, man. I would encourage anybody listening to this to just go on to YouTube. You can search, Haitian prison documentaries, and they'll see, man. There's like, in a cell that's, probably 20 by 20. There's probably 50 people in that motherfucker.
Fuck.
No toilet, no running water. It's insane, man.
And at this point, you'd not had any water or, food. Who gives a fuck? But you didn't have any, like they gave you nothing, right?
No.
Yeah.
And so we get there, and they unlock, and it's just master locks. And I'm like, man, fuck, I could just fucking cut that so fast. I mean, I just, your mind starts
with my
how do I get
Survival,
the fuck out of here? Who do I got to knock out? But like I said, man, you have no.
There was no infrastructure once you're out to.
No, where are you gonna go? I'm like, hey, okay, the airport's that way, but what am I gonna do? Run in there with no passport and be like, hey, help me? I'm like the girl at Delta, what's she gonna do?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm the first guy they let out of the zip cuffs, and they open this cell door. And,
no shoes, right?
Yeah, they take your shoes. All I had was our pants and our shirts
socks.
at this point. Belt's gone, fucking everything. No socks. And I walk in there, and there's these two cells, and there's no power. And you just see fucking eyeballs. Boop, 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 like pop like a fucking cartoon, right? Just black, and there's boop, boop, fucking eyeballs are popping up through these bars, and I'm like...
Because it's the middle of the night.
Middle of the fucking night. And I'm the only guy in there because I don't know where all the other guys are going. So I think I'm going in by myself, and I was like, man.
Hey, whitefish.
Yeah, this is going to be a long motherfucking night. It's
God damn.
Yeah. And in there was like a common area that's probably... I would say about 5 feet wide and 20 feet long, and there was another cell door at the end which was locked, and that's what I found out the next day. That's where the bathroom was at, if you want to call it that, but that's where that was at. So then they let all of us into that little common area. Then they opened the cell doors and split us up.
You were all happy when you saw your friends come in.
Yeah, I was super stoked when I saw those other guys. Like, fuck, man, it's tough to beat up and rape fucking 7 dudes.
Yeah.
One guy, you're fucked. You can, how long are you gonna last?
Yeah.
And so when they open the door, there's no lights, right? So they just start talking to us, try to get us in there. As soon as I walk in, I'm like stepping on people. The floor is like covered with fucking people.
Fuck, great.
And so the guy gets a flashlight, the guard, he comes in there with a flashlight, and he starts to speak, Creole, and he gets guys to move around. And I just laid down on the concrete, and I felt under this other concrete bench, which was also covered with fucking people. And I felt, which felt like a towel or something like that. I just rolled that shit up and went to fucking sleep.
And you said Kent was like, dude, what are you doing?
I'm like, I'm sleeping, man. Shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Fuck.
He's like, you all right, bro? And I'm like, yeah, man, it's fucking bedtime.
So none of the other prisoners fucked with you guys?
No. Surprisingly enough, the next day, and the sun comes up, and that's like their alarm clock, obviously. They let them out to be in that little common area for like an hour, and that's when they get to take a dump, and if the water is working, they will turn it on, and then there's in that third room is where like this little concrete shower pan was at, with a couple nozzles. They were cut off at the there wasn't like a
stem.
shower. Yeah, so it was just kind of like running out, and they had about 40 1-gallon jugs, and they would stand in the thing and fill the water up, because sometimes the water works, sometimes it doesn't. But that's what they used, once they would use the bathroom, whatever, to like wash their ass and like take little bird baths and that kind of shit. So. And
they drink it too, or is it?
No, some of the guys had bottled water. They had like some Gatorade or some of their like local drinks.
That water you not want to drink that.
No,
shit. Yeah.
no. And
but
so
it's not supplied.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's not supplied. Yeah. So we asked the guard, like, hey man, can we get some water? And they're like, no, you don't get food or water in Haiti, man.
Someone has to bring it
someone
to
you has to bring it to you. And so we say, well, the only people we know are in here with us.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, good luck, man.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's horrible, man.
Can you describe? I mean, was the smell fucking retarded in there, or what?
Smell is fucking horrendous. The jail, and I'll describe the bathroom. So the bathroom in there is we get a tour from one of the locals. They were super cool to us, and I think it's probably because of the number of people that we had, and we're probably twice their size. I mean, obviously don't eat like we do and all that, but they were really nice to us, and they take us back there, and there's like 2 piss or shitters, whatever that you're only using to urinate in.
And they let you use slippers to go in there too, because
because we were about ready to walk in, but we're all barefoot, and then they had like extra slippers. They're like, no, you got to put these on.
Yeah.
But they don't wear the slippers into the cell. They really try to take care of themselves. I mean, they knew they were in, dire straits as well. But the fucked up thing is that those toilets probably haven't been cleaned in 25 years. And so you can imagine what that smells like and looks like. And the tops of the tanks are all off. And the guy's like, yeah, man. So you stand on the bowl and then brace yourself on the wall and you just do a little squat to take a shit into this one. And then they would use that water to like force flush, to get it to work. But they were like, hey man, you guys, this of course all through an interpreter, but you can't put the toilet paper in there because it'll clog it. So we won't have an ability to take a shit.
Yeah.
So what they do is they wipe their ass and they drop the toilet paper next to the toilet. So then that piles up and hasn't probably, God only knows how long I've been there. So it's just full of flies and fucking it's
Christ.
Fucking horrendous, man.
Did you shit in there?
No, so
because I know, like when I went to boot camp, dude, I didn't shit for the first week I was there. Like,
yeah,
in that environment, like that's a lot. So did any of you guys shit in there?
A couple guys did. I shit when I was being talked to by the police. So I went into seer school mode. Yeah. Remember the little victories?
Yeah, fucking A.
And I'll tell you that. But anyway, so did this fucking tour, and then one of the guys knew that we had no water. So like one of the local Haitians that was in there with us had his girl go out and get, and I want to say they're probably like little emergency 6-ounce waters, probably something, from the earthquake or whatever. Mm-hmm. So she brought we each got one of those, and then he gave us a little thing of crackers to split up.
Yeah.
So they were really nice to us. Yeah. And later on, when the RSO from the embassy gave us a thing of MREs to split, we gave them most of the food.
Yeah.
And then when we gave them some of those MREs, man, they were literally like hugging out. A couple of the guys cried. And we asked them, we're like, hey man, what the fuck? Where are we? They're like, well, this is the jail that you hang out in before you go see a judge and you get sentenced.
Oh, okay. So it's more like a holding cell than a
sentence,
prison.
not judged.
Yeah, sentence, right? And
it's sad.
So we asked, we're like, well, how long does that take? And the guy responds, well, I've been here for 2 months. I haven't seen anybody. And just the mental mind fuck of all that is what was the worst part about it, right? It wasn't and of course, you're sleeping on fucking concrete and, that's
dehydrated as fuck,
sleeping on concrete, the headaches start and, you really just try to think about like, okay, man, this is, for me anyway, I thought, dude, John McCain did this for 7 fucking years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm on day 2. I'm fine. I'm fine. Right. Yeah. And so that's where the kind of like, for me anyway, the mental segue was real quick. I mean, it really brought me.
Put it in perspective, right?
Yeah. It really brought me right back to fucking SEER school.
Yeah. That's fucking wild.
Yeah, I said, well, I need to make myself like a SEER refresher certificate. Because I definitely got, I got SEER 2.0 for sure, man.
That's the fucking SEER final training exercise if I've ever seen one.
Yeah. Training's never over.
Yeah. Training's never stops, motherfuckers. Yeah. But like I say, man, we laugh and joke now, but at the time it was fucking miserable. So at any rate, so on the third day, they want to, they bring us, they fingerprint us, they take all of our pictures, and they don't have computers, amazingly enough. Everything is handwritten. And so they're trying to get, they're talking to you and they're like, hey, what's your cell phone number? You write down a fake number and shit. And, what's your address? Don't give them the right one. Typical, because there's no way for them to really check. And as I'm sitting there, they're trying to interrogate me. And I asked them for a bottle of water. They hooked me up with a bottle of water. And about 20 minutes later, I was like, guys, my stomach hurts. I got to use the restroom. They're like, no, we got to do the interview. And I'm like, I can't even talk unless I can use the bathroom. So that's how they took me to their bathroom with it actually flushed.
Check you out.
And I fucking was like, hey, can I get some toilet paper? And he brings me like a stack of napkins. And I was like, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
Close the door, no lights. I'm in the fucking pitch black of this toilet. And I just took the biggest shit ever. And he's like, are you okay? They're hitting the door. And I'm like, yeah, be out in just a second. And that's how I, ended up taking a dump. After that, I don't know what I would have done, man. But, obviously if somebody's going to shit, you're going to shit the way you got to do it. But
fucking Christ. So, all right. So that was day 2. At this point, you hadn't heard from him. Had you seen it had anybody contacted you from Patriot or where were you at?
No. So I I had a weird feeling when he just went dark, and I was like, okay, you know, I know this happens sometimes because he went to Puerto Rico after the hurricanes, you know, but I was like, okay, maybe there's no cell service. I'm just going to try and go to bed. And I went to bed at close to midnight. And then all of a sudden, right after, like at 2:05 in the morning, I woke straight up, like sweating. I just woke straight. It was the weirdest thing. And I was like, I checked and I'm like, he still had not even seen my WhatsApp messages, right? I was like, okay. I was like, this is kind of weird. I'm like, yeah, you know what?
If that motherfucker's at the club, I swear to Christ.
I'm going to kill that bitch. No.
I saw you take out $300 in Haiti at fucking midnight. What's going on?
No, but so.
Fucking Platinum Plus or whatever the fuck it's called.
Yeah. I don't know what. Pure Platinum?
Yeah.
No.
So that's an episode by itself. Sorry. Go ahead.
So I don't know what it was, but something I was like, you know, let me just. So I started Googling and I put Haiti, and I really don't know why I did it. But all of a sudden I put Haiti and I put his name, thinking nothing would pop up. And sure enough, there was a fucking article that came out and posted at 2:02 a.m. in the morning. So I'm reading it 3 or 4 minutes later. Wow. I'm like, I was like, this can't be right? So I'm reading it, and it was showing the Twitter post of like them in the jail.
So you're about having a heart attack, I imagine, right?
I'm having a heart attack. I felt weird like the minute he left. And my brother, I'd been talking to my brother that weekend, and he was like, you know, when I talked to my brother the next morning and told him what was going on, he was like, well, you felt weird this whole time. Because in all honesty, when you were talking about red flags earlier, like when Chris went to Puerto Rico, he was given 7 pages that he had to keep on him at all times. Yeah. And supposedly he was going to get paperwork when he landed there in Haiti. Yeah. But I don't know. He was obviously never given paperwork
And
like
the Puerto
that.
Rico thing, too, I was there for almost a month, and that was, 2 days notice before I took off to go on that one.
Yeah.
So.
And they had like, so I was kind of like, it happened so fast and everything. I was just a little worried. And plus Haiti was in a political crisis. And, you worry more about that. But so I saw the article, and then I got mad at him because I'm like, I didn't have like Lance Burton's phone number, and Lance is with
Hawkstorm Global.
Hawkstorm
is
Global,
the company that hired me,
who was the sub under a sub under a sub or whatever that called Chris, and I didn't have Lance's phone number or anything. I didn't have his contact at all. So I like, after a while, I'm like freaking out, and I'm Googling, and of course I go to Google crazy. And I jump out of bed, and I finally am like, wait a minute. I remembered, Lance, I printed out his, earlier when he left, I printed out his flight itinerary, and Lance had sent it to him. So I jumped on his computer and emailed Lance. I don't even know what time it was. Early in the morning, I was like, Lance, this is Osman. Give me a call as soon as you can. I just read an article that my husband's in jail in Haiti. What the fuck is going on, right? Yeah. So he ended up calling me. But like, I knew too early. I wish I wouldn't have known, but I knew a little too early. So I'm like, I had stopped sleeping at that point. I was freaking out.
Yeah. And so at that point, was there any involvement from either the U.S. Embassy or any government officials at all? Like, how to, like, I guess, continue?
Sure. So the U.S. Embassy, when an American gets locked up in any foreign country, the embassy is notified. They show up. And the consulate shows up, but they can't provide legal assistance. They can't give you water. They can't give you food. They just literally tell you, are you being treated okay? But they're telling you that in front of the fucking guards. So it's absolutely. Never been treated better, man. I mean, it's just like being at the Hotel Del, but better. Yeah. Because what do you don't know what the fuck's going to go on. You can't just be like, oh, these guys are pieces of shit, and they won't, and then they leave, and you're getting the rubber hose treatment in the back, So everybody was like, yeah, it's fine, no big deal, whatever. So they don't give you shit, right? They take your name down and they say, hey, do you want us to talk to the press? The press contacts us, we're like, hey, no, it's a media blackout, but so I gave the guy my wife's number. He's like, hey, just let her know I'm doing fine and I'm cool and no medical conditions, to report, no big deal. So that's all that they do for you. Mm-hmm. But if something like was really, really fucked up for you, they may be able to help and step in, but typically they will not. And so I said, well, what about us getting food and water? He's like, yeah, it's not a fair system what they have down here. So we you guys are gonna have to figure that out. They literally just You're like, hey man, Team America, fuck you. Not fuck yeah, but fuck you.
Yeah, you have to figure that out.
Well, they are. I mean, not to defend the consulate, but they're also having to play by.
They have to play by the rules, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. I mean, if you know, if
I mean, same with other embassies and
it's just
shit, yeah.
it's just the way that it works, and I think people have this stupid ass idea that because they're Americans that actually matters somewhere else besides America, or that
the
you have
Constitution
rights.
magically applies worldwide,
And it doesn't. They don't give two fucks, and they shouldn't. I mean, you know what I mean? And you're in their country, and you got to play by their rules. So we expect the same of other people here. You know, so it's reciprocity. At the highest level. Yeah. So he's like, okay, guys, we'll try to have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. So he leaves, but the RSOs from the embassy, were very, very cool to us and just let us know, kind of sneaking us little whispers like, hey man, you guys got fucked, and you guys are being played here politically. That's the only we don't even know why you got locked up. You haven't done anything wrong. You haven't even been charged anything. So just sit tight and chill.
And that's what the consulate said too. I'm sure when they called all the wives or whatever, that's what Scott said to me. He was like, look, your husband's been arrested, but he has not been formally charged. And he kept saying that. I'm like, okay, so when's it getting out? Like, that was my only question. But when I emailed Lance, I'm the first person that told Lance that they were in jail, which upset me a little bit because there should be some form of, I don't know what the word is. I've never
communication.
There should be.
The person who was supposed to be communicating back with the primes, these contractors that hired us, these companies, was on escape and evasion to save his own fucking ass. Yeah. So it's it's literally, to me, it's diabolical to fuck people like that. Yeah. And not only that, but what.
And a wife shouldn't be the one. Letting people know that, hey, your boys are in jail. Not that it's that's Lance's fault, but I'm just saying, like. Yeah. It was like, what the hell? Yeah.
Well, it's not that we got locked up, right? I mean, and again, I'm alive and I'm here, so that's fine. But it's the actions of some of these fucking people, man, were crazy. The messages that Lance would be talking to her about, oh, don't worry, I'm putting together a team if we got to go bust him out. I'm like, what are you going to do? Land there in a fucking CH-47 and fast open to the compound and say, like, these people are so fucking dumb.
I would rather have my husband come out legally.
And all these, there's a lot of people that were just giving these women, false hope, pretending that they have capabilities that they surely don't.
Well, they didn't want us to. I mean, they really didn't want us talking. They were like, if you got to tell family, but you really shouldn't talk about it. It might hinder their situation, and all these things. So for almost 2 days, I really wasn't talking to anyone. So I'm talking to Lance, and then finally, by Monday night, I lost it, and I was like, John Choate and I don't know if I should say their names, but Johnny Sotelo.
But you did, yeah.
So Johnny Sotelo starts calling my phone, and if you know Johnny, I'm like, if I don't answer this damn phone, his ass will be on a plane to Haiti Rambo.
No, I mean,
so
he's as solid as they fucking come.
Yeah. So I answered. I was like, hey Johnny. I was like, yes, it's true, because apparently it went on whatever Facebook.
Yeah. And we had no idea that any of that shit hit the media like that.
Yeah.
Had no clue.
Yeah, it was like a hard first couple of days. By Tuesday night, I was getting really pissed off because I was being told for 2 days that they were getting out. Yeah. All day Monday, oh no, they're going to be getting released. They're going to be getting released. And then Tuesday, the same thing was being said. So, by Monday night, by Tuesday night, I'm on the West Coast. So I'm like, okay, well, it's fucking 10 o'clock my time. Yeah. Obviously, they're not getting released. And I hate that false hope. That's the worst feeling, right?
So I guess what was happening behind the scene was that the president had ordered his director, again, the national security whatever his name is, but he wrote a full-blown 2-page letter, all of our names on it, demanding our release from the head of the national police. But he refused to let us go because they answered to the prime minister. So there was that rift. Yeah. And that's when the prime minister used us so he could get on CNN, right? Because no one was interviewing the prime minister from any national media before that. Because, who gives a flying fuck about Haiti, really? So he gets on there, and he's on CNN, and he calls us terrorists. He's like, yeah, these international terrorists were flown in by the president to assassinate me and to rob the bank. And that's when it hit the media, and I thank God he kind of did, because if he hadn't have been such a dumbass,
they probably would have been like, yeah, whatever, fuck those guys.
Right. He was like, hey, man, let's just charge them. We don't need any media. But he wanted to use it to get on television. Yeah. And by calling us terrorists and all the shit that he called us, then the U.S. State Department is like, has to react.
Yeah.
And
so I mean, if he hadn't done that, there's a solid chance you'd be there getting
dead.
fucking.
I think I'd be dead right now. Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
And that's the funny part because
that was the funny part, me being killed. You guys heard it here. Mic drop. Go fuck yourself.
No one's killing you but me. Anyways.
Yeah, she's claimed that. Any motherfucker's gonna kill me, it's gonna be her.
Yeah. Here's the funny part about that. Go ahead.
No, but I'd never been in this situation before with dealing with something like this as a wife or anything. So
it's
wasn't
not
sure.
A real common scenario.
No, but I wasn't sure what to do. And I went from, literally for 2 days where I thought I was smart, like I lost all intelligence and, kind of did, I don't want to say did all the wrong things, but I was listening to someone telling me not to really talk to anyone or not, we don't want this in the media. And this will never happen again. But if it ever did, I'm like, the first thing I'm going to do is go to the media. Yeah. Right? What I learned is like, of course, you want it on the media. You want people to know so that someone can help them.
Yeah.
And that is, so thank goodness the Prime Minister came out and said that they were going to do that because.
So the State Department jumps in, and at that point.
So on the fourth day, embassy guy comes. Oh, actually, no, he didn't actually come. He saw us on the third day. And his name is Scott, and Scott was like, "Hey man, I hope I don't see you guys again." Kind of gives us the wink, and we're like, "What the fuck's that mean?" And we, hung out all day, all night. So the fourth day, the guys from the embassy came, the RSOs, and whispers through the bar. He's like, "I just need to talk to one guy right now." So one of the guys goes up, and we kind of had a little powwow in the corner, and it was, "Don't say a word. They're gonna open the gate, and we're being moved, but just don't say a fucking word. Just do what they tell you." So the same guy. So next thing you know, man, we like turn around and they're like, "Yo, get your ass over here." But what's interesting though, let me back up. That morning on the fourth day, the jail cell is like flooded with another maybe 15 or 20 Haitians. One of the guys is an American who got busted in a small plane smuggling drugs, so he's definitely fucked. He's there right now.
I think there's an article that went out on him after that.
Yeah, that guy who we met, whatever his name was, I can't remember, but he is
smuggling
fucked.
drugs and
he's not in the position that we were in. Yeah. And matter of fact, when we were being moved, we told embassy, we're like, "Hey man, there's another guy," and they're like, "Yeah, the drug smuggler, fuck that dude. He's fucked that guy." Yeah. And so, you know what I mean?
Like straight up white boy American.
No, he's a black guy. Yeah. From where was he? I think he was from
Florida.
New York.
Yeah. Oh, I thought he was from Miami.
That's right, Miami. He was like and he tried to give us some song and dance about him being some like videographer, and he was going to pick his buddy up on an island, and the plane broke down, and they got stopped at a checkpoint.
He did something illegal, so now he's going to have to deal with what's going to happen.
Yeah. Which is he's probably going to be 6-7 years in prison down there. Which is
you feel bad for him.
Yeah. And his head was all fucked up, and we're like, "What happened to your head, dude?" And he goes, "Oh man, I had dreadlocks, but they don't let you have dreadlocks here, so they use a straight razor and just fucking cut it off." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, they just had a dude wet it and went," and I was like, "Whoa!" So if you go to Haiti after this, you shouldn't. Lessons learned, but if you ever do, folks, don't have dreadlocks.
God damn.
You don't get cut off with a straight razor. Yeah. Anyway, so they opened the cell door, and the same guys that had brought us before were in their full kit again, and it was right into the zip ties.
Not again.
And the guy just like holds the zip ties, and you kind of turn. And I was like, "Fuck, not again, dude." And again, it was, "Hey man, I think I can cut these guys' hands off with this plastic." And yeah. And so they gave us our shoes to put on, but we kind of get split up in a bunch of vehicles, and we get taken to another police station, but this one was really small. But it was kind of near the embassy because we drove right past the embassy, and I was like, "Oh man, there's America! Fuck, please let me out!" Yeah. And so we go to this other compound. The national police leave, and then we get put into small cells in this guy. It really was like a house, right? And then we're like, they had cells in the backyard that are like 5x8 or whatever the fuck they were. So we get split up. And we're in these concrete cells again in the backyard, hanging out, and then the guy from the embassy comes back again. He's like, "Hey," he starts snapping his fingers. I hear him through the bars. He's like, hey. He's like, "Let's go, put your shit on." So he slip into our shoes that have no laces. And he's just like, "Don't say a fucking word. Follow me and jump in the first car you see." Okay. And jump in these vehicles, there's blacked out, Suburbans, and boom, the doors close, and the guys, and man, there they are, man, the boys, tatted up, beards, fucking M4s.
No shit.
And I'm like, oh,
praise Jesus.
Praise Americas. Yes.
What'd they say to you when you got?
Dudes were just like, welcome home, boys, don't open the fucking door.
They're like, welcome to America.
Yeah, because, it's a diplomatic vehicle, so,
it's fucking
the
crazy.
doors can't
vehicle.
be open, right?
Yeah.
So it's an international incident. You fuck with any of them. So we race out of the compound, and phone rings, and they pass the word that they have us. They're told, don't stop for anybody. If anything goes wrong, just bring them back to the embassy and get them the fuck out of here.
The embassy, which I was told, was not the safest place in Haiti. When people were coming up with options on how how they're going to get them out, and like, hey, when they get released, we're going to take them either back to the hotel where they were staying or this house that's away from everything. Or I was like, well, how about the fucking embassy?
Yeah.
Oh, that embassy's not really good there. That's not the safe. Yeah. I was being told that's not the safest place. I'm like, if my husband gets out, take my fucking husband to the embassy.
I'll go there by myself.
Yeah,
you're fucking stupid. If you
apparently the embassy there is really nice, and it's a huge compound.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Do you know who the dudes, the fucking pipe hitters that picked you up? Do you have any idea who they were?
No.
Yeah, to this day, no fucking clue. Just secret squirrels running around.
Yeah. And so we get to the airport, right? And there's media out there already. And we're like, what in the fuck? They're like, yeah, man, the word's out on Twitter that you guys are leaving, and the prime minister's trying to stop it. So we got to get you guys in this plane and get you the fuck out of here.
Fucking Twitter.
Fucking Twitter, man.
Damn.
Jesus.
I know, and I'm not even on Twitter.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just amazing, like where we're at as a race of people. Like that Twitter is like, that's just social media across the board. Like, it's fucking nuts. But
yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
So we get out of the car, like one by one. We walk in, and there's, obviously there's phone calls have been made, and there were people there that looked like regular airport people that I knew were obviously helping to protect us and giving us lines of defense so we can go get our ticket. But we were already on the manifest and walked up and got our passport handed back to us by the guys from the embassy and got our ticket. And what's crazy is we all start to go through the security checkpoint to get up to the plane. And then this random motherfucker comes running out of nowhere. And
a Haitian
with this ripped up like plastic grocery bag. Yeah. Wallet, I got your wallets. And we're like, what the fuck? Yeah. So I'm like, all right. So we just start rat fucking this bag, and no shit. The wallet I have right now is the one that I had. And
all his money was still in there and everything.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that my money was in there.
The country may be in a dire straits, or whatever the term I'm looking for, but the people...
Fucked. You're looking for the word fucked.
Yeah, but the people are good people.
Yeah. I'm assuming you lost all your shit at the hotel, right?
Everything was gone, yeah. We didn't... Yeah, I came back with the clothes I've been wearing for 5 days and my wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my passport. So, anyway, so we get on the...
And did you lose your phone?
Yep.
Phone
no
gone.
shit.
Yeah, they took all that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, some shit on there. I'm sorry.
Well, when they got
but I digitally wiped it from my,
yeah.
When they got them out, they were like, they were just getting their passports and everything.
Fucking wild shit. So, all right, so you get your wallet back. Now you're in process. Like you're just at the civilian airport walking through
at Port-au-Prince Airport, and people are kind of pushed to the side. So we go through, and they made us walk through metal detectors. I'm like, awesome.
Is it a shithole airport?
It wasn't it might. It's probably. I mean, it's like being in Fayetteville Airport.
Yeah. Shout out to Fayetteville.
Shout out Fayetteville. No, it was. I mean, they were professionals. I mean, they were obviously working at a.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I just with the rest of the country being as dire of a scenario.
Yeah, it's a shithole.
Like power out and fucking no AC and yeah.
Yeah. Well, we go up and then we go up another. We go through security, get our passport stamped. Which is funny. They had like the actual store there. It was like the tax free. Did like
grab a bottle of rum on the way out.
Yeah, duty free. You're like, oh man, let me get a pack of fucking Marlboros.
But then you were asking to pay taxes at that point.
I was like, I'll pay whatever.
I'll pay whatever tax you want.
Yeah. And so then we go upstairs, and there's airport people filming us. So they film us going through the second line of security, and we board the flight. they closed the door, and there was people on the flight that escorted us back from the embassy, and so man, I tell you what, dude, when that fucking plane took off, I almost burst into tears, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I rubbed that passport like it was my dick, and I was 13 years old. I was like, ugh. I tried to start a fucking fire with that thing. I was rubbing that fucking thing so hard. I was like, oh, thank God, man. I just kept staring where it says like U.S. passport, and I kept looking at my picture and fucking 2 stamps in it, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. Holy fuck.
So you're packed on a plane with a bunch of other
Haitians,
civilians, like
a commercial flight.
stinking up the fucking place? You guys had to smell like fuck.
Oh, man, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
I feel
like
bad
these
for
stinky
whoever sit
fucking
beside you.
Americans,
Yeah.
these stinky ass Americans. Yeah.
So where did the plane land?
We flew to Miami from there.
Miami.
Yeah. And
So what happened at that point?
so the plane lands, and no one says shit to us the whole time we're flying, whatever. And the plane lands and taxis up. And the captain comes on. He's like, this is your captain speaking. Welcome to Miami. We have a few special passengers on board that are going to be escorted off. If everybody could just remain in their seats until they're told to get up, just everybody stay in their seats. Don't move. We have, agents coming on board to escort our special friends off.
Special friend.
And so they came off, and they're like, first guy, second guy, so everybody gets off. And as we get off, through the jet bridge, there's this line of agents there, and each guy had to get handcuffed. And I came off the plane, and the guy looks at me, and he's like, don't worry, man. This is just procedure, dude. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Welcome.
You're like, yeah, I've heard that shit before.
And he goes, we have to cuff you guys as procedure. I'm like, they're American handcuffs. I don't give a fuck. Click them up, dude. I don't give a fuck.
It was 1 click though.
Yeah, so
You
they
got
literally
1 click.
they were like putting 1 click, 2 click. They're like, hey, is that okay? And I'm like, oh man, you have no idea how great that feels. Yeah. That's American steel. Where the fuck were those made, dude? You know what I mean? So we're all like giggling and fucking laughing because we're home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're like excited as fuck.
Yeah.
I back up real second. What I thought was the most fucked up thing was the absolute inability to save myself. So, you get in these vehicles, you're being escorted, and normally, guys like us are the ones doing the rescuing. Mm-hmm. Now, all of a sudden, I'm being rescued.
Yeah.
No gun, no fucking, you know what I mean? You have no radio, no gun, no meat. You're depending on somebody else.
Yeah.
And so whoever you guys were, thank you very much. You're like uber professional and bad motherfuckers. I mean, literally saved our asses. I mean, there's no doubt about that. Anyway, so we go back and we're in Miami. And we come off the plane, and we're a plane, and you have to walk through the crowd of people that are waiting to jump on the flight.
And now it's all fucking prim, proper dressed Americans, and you guys roll through there looking like fucking
Bag of smashed assholes.
like Motley Crue roadies after a fucking Ozfest or whatever.
Yeah, and there's literally 12 police officers. There's the 7 of us. And we're all 6 of us because the local Haitian, he was still in jail. He got let go later, but. So we get escorted, but we're all like laughing and giggling and joking. And people were like, oh my God. And one guy, I remember, walked by. He's like, babe, look at those guys. I've never seen anybody so fucked, so happy. Like, look at those guys. They're like in handcuffs laughing. Are they fucking crazy? Yeah. And so we went upstairs to the, Homeland Security's, holding area. And they have these huge ass cells. They were beautiful, gorgeous cells. American made fucking cells. Right. They open the door, and it's 1 guy per cell, and it's like a 20 by 20 air conditioned. And I was like, oh man, look at the fucking, this place is amazing.
Yeah.
Go to sleep.
And there was a fucking mattress on the ground, like a little, it was like 6 inches thick foam, and it had like a built-in headrest. And just out of I didn't even think about it, but my mindset had already flipped because before I walked in, I took my shoes off.
Yeah.
Just like, we were there to take the slippers off for going into the cell. Yeah. I didn't even like consciously think about it. I literally reached down, slipped out of my shoes, rolled my pant legs up, and I held them, and I walked right in. And
you're like, the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. And the guy's like, so the guy looked down, he goes, holy shit, man, look at your feet. Because our feet were fucked, man. Yeah. Bit up by the gnats and the bugs. Really, really bad. My feet are still scarred from it. Like I said, my hands are numb, my feet are fucked. And so as I walk in there, he goes, hey man, really sorry, we don't have much, for you. And I literally looked at that dude and I go, I could sleep in here for a month, man. You don't even have to come back. I'm fine. And I laid down, and I think I was unconscious before he even closed the door.
Yeah.
Well, later on, I don't even know how long I was knocked out for, but he came back and got me and went and debriefed with Homeland Security. Then came back to the cell, and they gave us a like a microwave, Diddy Moore like beef stew.
Yeah.
And they were so nice, man. They were just like, we're really sorry, man. This is all we can give you. And I was like, I don't think you understand, man. I would eat that out of your asshole right now.
In fact, can I?
Let me show you how appreciative I am of American.
How about I toss your salad with that real quick?
Yeah.
They're like, we were going to let you go, but now that you just said that.
Yeah. And then we debriefed with a couple folks from the FBI, and at the end of all this, and that took about a couple hours, but at the end of all of it, it was literally like, hey man, so now what? They're like, now you guys get the fuck out of the airport.
So there wasn't like an interview or a debrief or anything like where they asked you a bunch of shit about what went on or why you were there or any of that?
No, he did. I mean, I literally told him the same story that I'm telling you now. The big thing was the guns, and I was like, look, man, I flew in on a commercial flight. I went through customs. Here's my passport, and I didn't bring any guns personally. The guns were already there when I got there. So,
do you know whose guns they were?
No. I was always told by the guys that hired us were there on the detail with us that they were the property of the Haitian government. They were supplied to us.
I gotcha.
So,
fuck. So, all right. So at that point, what happened after that? They're like, all right, fucking, you're free to go. Like, you have your wallet, so are you having to buy a ticket and trying to call her and just on your own?
That was it, right? No cell phones. I borrowed a guy's phone on the plane
before when you landed or when you in Port-au-Prince?
When I landed
in Miami.
Okay.
Yeah, he called and was like, that was the first time I heard his voice. But I knew that they were going to be, because the consulate called and said, hey, just letting you know that Chris is on a plane headed to Miami. I was like, what? I was like, because he was avoiding my phone calls for like a couple days.
Avoiding, like we were dating. You hear the shit? Like,
not you.
Relationship status. It's complicated. I wasn't avoiding your fucking phone call. I didn't have a fucking phone.
Talking about
let me just pull this fucking thing out of my asshole and be like, oh, that's a great signal.
Yeah, Facebook status to separate it before you land.
Facebook status, I'm going to kill him when he gets home. No, the consulate, because obviously they're trying to, not to be angry, because I ended up that Wednesday morning when this started all going down, I didn't really have any news still. And by Tuesday night, I was angry. Yeah. But I had been calling the consulate, left messages. And then I called the U.S. Embassy here in D.C. on Wednesday. I'm like, well, I got to talk to someone, right? Yeah. Because I hadn't talked to Scott since Monday. And they were like, oh, the U.S. Embassy is closed today because of snow. I was like, what?
Yeah. And when I landed, I said, like, this whole time we had no idea that all this shit was going down. The first time we ever really heard anything was when all those, like, the new crop of prisoners came that morning, right? And they were, and the American was like, yeah, you guys are all over the radio. And we're like, what? And he was like, yeah, as they transported us over here, your shit's all over the radio. And we're like, what's it saying? They're like, oh, that you were here, like, you guys are assassins and here to kill the prime minister. So it was real, for the first time, that's when we really kind of heard all that rhetoric. So,
and then you guys realized maybe they brought all these Haitians in here
to fuck us up.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, that entire time that you were in the Haitian prison was what, 4 days, 5 days?
4 days.
4 days. That entire time, were there any other Haitian prisoners that ever tried to fuck with you guys at all? Nothing.
No.
That's fucking surprising.
They were super nice to us.
Yeah, that's fucking wild. Like, I would have thought that, like, there at least would have been a couple of fucking tough guys that wanted to take a shot at the title or whatever, like something, but
when they brought in the new guys, you said you guys all took your
when they brought in like the 20 guys, I was like, yo, they got like 20, 30 guys coming in, everybody, take your fucking shirts off and like bow up a little bit. And
shit.
Yeah, so when we were in that like common area,
that is some fucking primal caveman shit.
Yeah, when you like shirts off, the fucking tats on,
you're like eyeballing everybody,
stand proud and like don't, like, we're not smiling at anybody, and they all kind of like moved out of the way and just they didn't fuck with us. Yeah,
that is fucking hilarious, man. I love it. All right, so they fucking cut you loose. What did you do at that point? Like, did you take your wallet and
get beers?
Yeah, so no shit. They were like, so now what do we do? And the guy's like, well, go through these double doors, take a right, and then you'll pass the baggage claim and just walk out, man. You're free. And so that was it. So we were literally in that same fucked up clothes, no shoelaces.
Yeah. You had your wallets.
Had a wallet. Walked out onto the streets of the Miami airport, and we saw a Marriott bus go by. Flagged him down. I asked him if he had any rooms. He said no. The next one, I don't even know what hotel it was. He said yes. So we jumped on and used our cards and got a couple of rooms and ordered pizza and beer and like took showers. Right, did that whole thing. And one guy was like, "Hey man, who needs fucking shoelaces?" And we gave him money. And then him and a guy went down to like 7-Eleven and bought us all shoelaces. And
did you guys go buy new fucking digs to change into and shit, or?
No.
You just changed
No,
back
why?
into nasty
This cra-
shit.
We didn't
this
have any other-
crazy
we didn't have any
fool
other
came back in
clothes.
shitty clothes.
Fucking
And it
pizza
was-
and beer, check. Fucking new clothes. Fuck it.
Fuck it. Yeah, so he's like...
They
in
probably went to a strip club.
Yeah, no. So like when I'm in the
crazy.
shower, right? I jump in the shower, I'm wearing my clothes, and I just use
I
the
gotcha.
bar and fucking soak my clothes up.
Yeah.
And I would wring it out, and then like the dirt and shit, I was like, whoop. So I was like, wow, that's pretty fucking disgusting. And so we just crashed out and got up, and everybody had bought tickets, and that's when we, dispersed and went back home.
Chris got his first class Delta ticket to come back.
I did.
home.
Yeah.
So you get first class, and at that point, she knew when you were coming in.
Yeah.
You picked them up and
Yeah.
all. Dude, that is fucking nuts, man. The two questions that I have that I kind of generated, I guess, listening to it. To this day, do you know at what level it reached in terms of the U.S. government that got you guys out? I mean, do you know how high up it went?
So when we hit altitude and seatbelt lights were turned off, one of the dudes, the leader, I will call him the leader, the team leader that rescued us, right? I mean, this whole thing of like, oh yeah, we kind of work, no, we're, no shit, they fucking rescued us, dude.
Right,
but
so-
anyway,
so
but
the-
he told us, he goes, hey man, we had to get you out of here because you guys, they're like all of our intel people that we had were telling us that you guys are going to be murdered, and we're like, what? And they're like, yeah, they're going to transfer you to the prison, the actual the bigger prison, and they're going to have
beat you to death.
beat us to death, whatever the fuck, kill us in prison or
Have us killed.
on the way, and like, oh, they tried to escape, we had to kill them, and they're special forces and blah 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 blah.
All right, so the guys that came to rescue you in the Suburbans and whatever, the fellow pipe hitter kind of guys,
Yep.
those dudes jumped on the plane with you and escorted you all
A couple of them did, yeah. And as we were standing there at the airport, we were thanking them all. We're like, hey man, thank you guys so much for doing this. And one of the guys goes, dude, this is the best thing I've done in like 6 months. It's fucking boring down here. He's like, I could be back at the embassy doing paperwork. He goes, man, thank God.
Did you guys shoot the shit with them at all? Be like, hey, what's your background? And like,
Never asked him.
Yeah.
No.
You were just glad to be on the fucking plane.
Yeah.
God damn, it's wild. The other thing is, do you, like, when you got back to San Diego, like, did you go get checked out, like, medically? Like, was there any, I mean, other than the feet and the hands, like, did you go get tested for shit or anything like that? Or
No, I was kind of waiting for something to like pop up if like some random boil on my back fucking like flared up or something, but I
You
haven't.
took some meds.
Yeah, I took meds, and I was on Benadryl for like a week, and all the swelling and all the shit on my feet went away. But I mean, they're still scarred from all the bites and stuff. But
He probably has something. We'll find out in 3 months.
I wish
You're
I
welcome.
wish you'd have gotten checked out before you came here. I'll tell you, no, I'm kidding. I'm gonna go jump in the shower.
yeah, I probably have the Haitian HIV right now and just don't know it. So I apologize because you
good
now have it
shit.
too. You're welcome.
It won't last long here, but
No.
All right. So from when you got back, like, was there any closure in terms of the company that hired you? That like what happened since then in terms of compensation or
Right.
just-
So we were paid the full for 10 days. They still haven't paid us back for the equipment. That's, we're going to do it next week, we're going to do it next week kind of shit. So that's kind of up in the air. Yeah. I could really care less. I mean, I remember, the guys, of course, let's stick together. We'll be family and brothers. Some of us have. I mean, some of us are like, no shit, like really good friends now, and we'll be friends forever, obviously, because of that. Some guys are fucking clowns, and we're, cut ties with them. But, it's interesting in these like WhatsApp, group messages that we're in, the guys start, arguing and talking about, they better pay us for our gear. I lost a lot of equipment, and, they start getting angry and shit. And I jumped on there and I was like, hey guys, why don't you just take a second and close your eyes, put yourself back in that fucking cell, and ask yourself, does another $8,000 for your lost 511 collection really even fucking matter?
Yours
like
was
who,
$10,000.
I'm
so.
like, who gives a fuck about $8,000 or $10,000? Like in the scope of them, like you're alive in America.
Yeah.
Like you should never be angry again another day in your life. You should you're good. That's the hard reset. You literally had a hard fucking reset.
Yeah.
But I can understand where they're coming from, though. If you think about it. Well, no, I can't because I wouldn't. Put
No, I
myself
mean,
in that position.
honestly, between $10,000 or being back in that fucking jail.
Yeah, or being murdered by fucking,
but you are safe and you are sound. But that is still your equipment, and they should either give you back your equipment or do what's right and give you the money for your equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
it's actually written in the contract that any gear that was left would be
because
reimbursed,
technically, if you think back on it, now you were there and were in a Haitian prison for free because you say you got paid, but that's how much you lost. You lost $10,000 worth of stuff. So I don't know.
Ain't that a bitch?
I just want some new shoes. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a wife.
That's why I went down there to get her some fucking new shoes. Daddy, Mama needs some new shoes. Well,
No.
Daddy needs a fucking new asshole.
I think that was the hardest. That was the hardest thing, is because Chris didn't need to go there for money, right? Like, so I think that's what was so hard those days, is that I just kept thinking, wow, this was for an extra house payment. This was for
because man, I'm an entrepreneur just like you are. So I always will try to better myself, I've always been that way. I think that. I don't have, obviously it's not my primary source of income. I don't even need to do that kind of work. I can do what I do and be happy with it. But it's like, hey man, you want to put a gun on and go fucking
make a quick 10 grand?
Yeah, I'm like, man, why not?
No, yeah, I mean, for sure, like the cruise control doesn't last very long, with assholes like us. I mean, you get bored fucking quick. Believe me, I get it.
But it gets sad to think that, I was sad thinking I could have lost him over.
Yeah, over something stupid like that. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's kind of the same thing with some of the extreme sports that guys do. I mean, I think guys like us, there's all of us have at least one fucking thing like that that's either stupid or fucking dangerous, or it's just like, God damn, why would you fuck with that? But
right.
I mean, I think that's a big part of the recipe of how people have the ability to achieve success in the special operations community is there's that little bit of fucking off wiring, but.
Yeah, and it's mostly white people, right? You don't see a lot of you don't see non-whites like shark diving and fucking cliff diving. You don't see that kind of shit. That's like white people doing, like dumbass white motherfuckers doing that stuff. I'm like,
white people do.
Why are we wired that way, dude?
That's some white people shit right there.
That's fucking great. That's racist. Anyway,
I'm half white. I can say it.
I fucking love it. So what now? I guess. I mean, when are you headed back to Haiti?
Well, I'm going to give it another week, and then I'll never obviously go back. And because my name was, it's one thing to have your name out there because you have a business and you're promoting shit or whatever. And I've been in the media for a long ass time, but now, as far as that type of work, I'll never do it again.
Yeah, well, I mean, that probably even impacts international travel across the board a little bit, I imagine.
Yeah, I can't imagine myself going any further than Hawaii or Alaska anytime soon. I don't, I have no desire. The guys are like, hey man, you want to ride to Mexico this year again? I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. Thanks.
Cabo for the weekend? Nope.
Nope, I'm good. I'll find a pool and some margarita right here in fucking San Diego.
Just FaceTime me when you get there.
Yeah.
We'll call it good.
Yeah.
That's fucking great. Well,
you asked earlier like how far it went up when you were asking like who got them out. I think you didn't you find out it went all the way to Mike? Did it go to Mike
as far as who? Yeah, it went all the way up to. We were told that it went to Pompeo and that it was a big fucking deal, dude.
Yeah.
Like basically like Trump had to give the head nod to let us out. So
well, I suppose I mean once the prime minister is like making accusations of the U.S. government being involved in sending you down here, I mean, like you can't not respond at that point. So
in a follow up to what has happened since then is we came home and about 3 weeks later, I don't know if anybody remembers, but then Marco Rubio made a visit to Haiti.
Oh no shit!
So he flew from Florida to Haiti to go visit with President Moise, and while he was there, or just before he landed, the prime minister that had us locked up was fired.
Really?
So he lost his job. Fuck you, dude.
Now he's in that same prison.
Yeah.
The embassy.
Don't worry, I'll bring you some water tomorrow, you fucking bastards.
The embassy, the ambassador of Haiti, for us. I mean, they all did their job.
An amazing job, man.
And
saved our ass. I mean, saved our lives, dude. There's no fucking. You can say what you want, play tough guy, and dude, they legitimately saved our fucking lives.
Yeah, that's fucking right on.
So he got shit canned, and then Moise, the President Moise, he went to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
When Trump was there a few weeks ago and had a meeting with him behind closed doors, so God only knows what's going on. But maybe he apologized for calling Haiti a shithole. I don't know.
Probably. Hold your breath on that one.
Yeah.
Have any contact from any government at all since then? Like
no,
nothing, huh?
Nope.
Just fucking, huh?
Yeah, we were literally asked the people that interview us in the debrief from the government. We're like, hey man, are we being charged? And they're like, no man, you guys legitimately have a contract, went down there to do it, and got rolled up and held without charge, and you guys were just fucked.
Yeah.
So
man, fucking crazy shit, man. I would say that I'm surprised. I'm kind of not though. Like if I go through my Rolodex of motherfuckers I know that would have a fucking story like this, I gotta tell you, you are on the short fucking list, bro.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
Well, there won't be any stories like this anytime soon.
Yeah, you're gonna fucking take a pause.
Big
at
pause.
least for a few months.
Yeah.
All right, so I know switching gears now, looking forward, you got this behind you. I appreciate you spending the time to go into all the details that I know. Like these are the fucking details that people want to know. Like, holy shit, what was that like? So I appreciate it.
And I didn't want to be that guy's like, well, I can't talk about it, bro. And all that's. I mean, look, what pissed me off the most. And why I decided to, break my silence, so to speak, is because of all the shit that was in the media. And I was like,
bullshit.
I get it. It's like, made it look like, Keystone Cops trying to rob a bank and we got rolled up by Haitians. And I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah. We're better than that.
Yeah, way better than that. I'd at least would have shot a guy.
Yeah, no shit.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So looking forward, like, we wrapped up the last podcast. We're going to release these together, but I know you have some, from a business standpoint, looking forward, like what are you going to do moving forward now?
So obviously in the last podcast we talked, everybody follow me on Chris Osman Designs, and I don't know when this will be released, but it may be still that, but I'm changing the brand name to Rugged, which is, I've always wanted a single word brand, and I think that, we talked about it earlier today, is that, 5 years, 10 years from now, as this thing keeps growing bigger and bigger, you don't want to have Mike Ritland Canine, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like I don't want to sell my own name and try to, figure out how to work that. And the other part of that is, when you introduce a brand with your own name, it's fine. It was a good segue from tactical assault gear because everybody knew me that as the founder and owner of Tag. So that was, a clean little segue, so to speak. But, I spend more time talking about who I am, and I'm like, I don't want to spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes describing who Chris Osman and why the fuck he designs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather just, talk about the new brand and what we're doing. And the, the big thing about what I'm doing is, as you know, man, I've been making and designing nylon products for almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
And, I have, a love affair for it for whatever reason. It's just my thing. Like you're into canines, I'm into nylon. So
Wait a minute. That just sounds fucking twisted. I'm into nylon.
You're in a canine.
I'm into nylons. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. I don't even know why they're out. That's why they're barking out there. It's not because they want to get out of the cages because you're out there raping them all night.
I think there's a bad connection with your mic. Maybe I don't know if they heard that. But, so anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So when I was going to come back to the tactical industry, the one thing I didn't want to do was just be. I looked at the industry and was like, hey man, the world really doesn't need another dump mag pouch or So, but
in the last 10 years, there's been an influx.
Yeah, it's been a
nylon
huge
companies.
Yeah. And I took a break for 10 years, other than when I was working for the company I sold Tag to. So, but what I want to do is sell direct and be a market disruptor and cut out all the middlemen, right? So traditionally, I'll use $100, let's say, for a belt or something. Traditionally, a dealer or a distributor would buy that at 40% off or 50% off. But I'm going to just sell it to the end users direct for the same price that a dealer or distributor would buy it for. And, a lot of these companies have crazy fucking markups on nylon now. It's, I see it every day. It's, 150%. Some brands I see 300%. And I just don't think that, nylon sewn into a rectangle should cost that much.
Yeah.
So.
But they're making room for their retail dealers, their distributors, their government distributors. He wants to go direct to consumer because guys are going back to the times of buying their own gear, and it's getting too expensive.
Yeah.
It's be like the Amazon of the tactical world.
So it'll all be online. There will be no retail stores. And the pricing all includes free shipping. So it'll.
No, it's fucking awesome. And share the name real quick. And if you want to show it to the camera, the new logo.
Can you see that? I don't know.
Yeah. Check out the YouTube fucking channel if you want to see the new design. Rugged spelled with an RH.
UGED.
Yeah, that's fucking great shit.
And then on the back it says as fuck. Yeah. So it's rugged as fuck.
Rugged as fuck, which has a whole new meaning after being in a Haitian prison.
That's how I came up with that. I'm like, hey, I just got a rugged as fuck.
Who came up with that?
You did, actually. I said, hey, because I was like developing the label, right? And it's a it's a sew-in label that turns over. And normally you have like launder instructions instructions on there, or like, oh, made in America, and
American flag.
don't tread on me. And I just think all that bullshit's so played out. And I was like, babe, I don't know what to put on there. She's like, oh, how about as fuck? I'm like, okay, we're rugged as fuck. Or as you say it, ass fucked.
Yeah, ass fucked.
Ass
That's right.
fucked. You were definitely ass fucked.
Yeah.
What? Before we wrap up, one question I wanted to ask that I didn't. What was the first thing you guys did once you got back to San Diego?
Had dinner with my kids. So that our kids were there at the airport, and hugged it out, and they wanted to hear the story, and went and had carne asada chips.
Yeah,
I couldn't even eat them.
We went and got Mexican.
Normally,
food.
Mexican food. Normally, I could eat like a pile of them, and
stomach's all
We
shot.
went to Santana's on Marina Boulevard, our favorite place to get.
Yeah. So people of, they're like keto and all this other bullshit. I'm like Atkins. I'm like, no, try the Haitian diet.
The Haitian prison diet.
Haitian prison diet. That'll fucking cut some pounds.
Yeah, fucking crazy.
Our kids were funny. We were in the airport waiting for him. And, they were so excited because they didn't know for days.
Yeah.
I didn't tell them till Wednesday because I didn't want them to worry, and I wanted to tell them good news. And finally, I didn't have any good news, and I finally told them. I took them to Denny's and told them. But
I don't know why Denny's like, what the fuck, dude?
So
of all the restaurants on earth, here's the fucking.
Especially living in San Diego.
Our daughter picked
Yeah, and
it
you're
out.
like, hey guys, here's the worst meal on earth to tell you the worst news about your father.
Yeah.
Our kids are both
over
in
a
college.
moon's over my hammy, by the way.
Well, our kids.
Can I get that smothered and covered?
Our kids are both in college, and my son ended up finding out that Wednesday morning. So
Twitter.
Because
Fucking Twitter.
Twitter.
our industry found out, obviously. It had been everywhere, and I work in the defense industry, so do like 6 of my best friends that I've known for 20 years. Well, 3 of them start blowing my phone up, freaking out, and I won't answer, right? Because I'm like, okay,
You don't want to bullshit them, but you don't.
yeah. And then all of a sudden my son calls and I didn't answer. And then he wrote me a text. Is white dad in a hate?
So he calls me white dad.
He was like,
How you
is
love that,
white
right?
dad. He either wrote is white dad or Chris. He wrote one of those.
It wasn't Chris. It was white dad.
So what's
he was like, is he in a Haitian jail?
Yeah. Well, how does he refer to the other dad?
Funkle.
We
The
won't
fun
finish.
uncle.
Stop.
What do you mean stop? It's fuck you. What do you mean about? Wait a minute. The Haiti thing? I can tell all the Haiti shit. You're mad because I didn't update my fucking relationship profile in prison, and I can't say Funkle on the fucking air.
But so my son sends me a text asking, is he in a Haitian jail? And I jumped. I was like, call him.
Who the
And I
fuck
was
told
like,
you that?
I was like, hey. He was like, I just got a call from Angie, which is one of my best friends, who was freaking out and was like, where's your mom? We're trying to get a hold of your mom. Chris is in jail in Haiti. So it's like, I'm like, can we please not call my children?
Yeah.
But
And so many people called. There are literally hundreds of people that reached out to her trying to, help out. And there were so many people behind the scenes calling the embassy and calling their friends in the State Department and the government. And it's amazing. I didn't even know I had that many fucking friends, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I didn't even know I knew that many people, really. I mean, it was so many people, man. It was crazy how many people came to help her, which was amazing.
But because by the 3rd night he was in there, that was Tuesday night. I was angry. I was, okay, he's not getting out. Stop telling me that. So I started asking for the contract, and I continued the next, morning all night. I was sending all these crazy text messages to Lance, and I was like, look, I would like a copy of the effing contract, the prime contract. And he would get on the phone with me and he'd be like, well, I don't know if you understand how contracts work and this and subs and primes. And I was like, stop. I work in the defense industry. I know all about fucking contracts, negotiating them, subs, primes. I want the subcontracts and I want the prime. I figured that would get him out of whatever situation they were in, So when I call my friends when they found out, my friends, have dads, some of them are now with SEALs. Not when we were younger. We were all too fast or whatever, but
so they say.
We have a big community, we're tied into a big community, and my best friend's dad, we're calling all the people he knew because he's former SOCOM, and everyone's just started calling a bunch of people. And I'm not saying that's what got him out, because obviously the embassy really was working, but there was that concern. And so when I was like, okay, I need to tell my daughter, I was like, hey, she was in class and I didn't want to text her the news, so I said, hey, would you like to have lunch? Your choice. Me and Erica come meet you. She was like, yeah, she picked Denny's. So I told them in Denny's.
Fucking Denny's. I love it.
Fucking
I told him in Denny's, hey,
moons over my hammy. Your
right.
dad's fucked.
That's right.
White dad is being fucked right now.
Yeah.
Would you like extra coffee?
and
Sure.
they're
Can I get a top off? Thank
Fucking
you.
white dad.
they're
I still
great
love it.
children. They're smart children, and they're awesome. And
I'm gonna have to use that somehow. I gotta.
Yeah.
You can change your contact name in my phone or
To
something.
white dad. You should.
yeah.
Oh Christ, I love it.
But I wrote them because I didn't want anyone in Denny's to know what we were talking about because it was all over the news at this point. So I wrote down, I'm like, okay, I'm going to say this, but I mean this. Like, I'm going to say Timothy, but I mean Chris. Like, change these 3 things.
I don't even know what she's saying right now.
No, to
what
the
the
kid.
fuck?
Wait.
You know, Mike, do you really even understand what she's saying right now?
It sounds like some secret squirrel shit that you had
That I was trying to-
concocted, and then it's like
Yeah, I was trying to tell the children what was going on with him,
Jason Bourne shit.
but without saying it out loud because the TV was on and it was on the news, and I didn't want people around us to know it was my crazy husband in fucking Haiti.
Yeah.
But they were like, when I started telling it, I didn't say any of the fake names or places.
Yeah.
I just said it, and they just laughed at me. So,
Yeah.
But they were good. They were great.
Christ, April Fools and shit.
Yeah.
Well, rock and roll. Anything else you guys want to add to the experience before we cut it out here? Before we bust out of here and grab
Chris
some
is
fucking
Caribbean.
Whataburger.
Caribbean.
Fuck Whataburger.
Listen.
You want to talk about that? Yeah, I'm fine. Haiti suck.
me tell you
Whataburger's
something.
worse.
If-
Let's
if-
talk about
if-
Whata fucking whatever the fuck burger.
I will say this: is that if you think a Haitian prison is bad, go somewhere public in North Texas and say "fuck Whataburger," and you may find yourself in a shittier spot.
I don't even know what part of Texas I'm in now, to be honest with you. I'm out in the middle of nowhere.
Bum-
We did
Bumfuck.
leave all of our San Diego and California hats and T-shirts. in
Yeah,
California
so-
before we came.
So obviously the hype of, Whataburger and all this shit, right? I've never had one in my entire, all the times I've been to Texas, never had one.
Still haven't?
No, I had one the other day.
okay.
And much like Haiti, never again. So
That's fucking.
so I go in there, and it's like, oh, the number one, this is the burger that made us famous and all this other shit. I'm like, cool. And then, we ordered it and sit down, and then the lady comes and she's got the prison tray of condiments. We get the fries were all right.
Well, I will.
That spicy
so,
ketchup though is next level.
Yeah.
All right.
That's really good.
I wasn't a burger fan,
But the burger I thought sucked ass.
I would say their fries are as close to McDonald's.
Back when they made them when they were bad for you. The McDonald's fries when they used
Yeah.
trans fat oil instead of the
Yeah.
fucking granola.
I will say
Express,
I love Whataburger fries. They
Yeah.
were really amazing.
The A1 thick and hearty burger will. You'll travel back to wherever your mom is and slap her for not making.
Wait a minute, they had a burger where you put I put A1 on my burgers.
I'm telling you that
Is that where I fucked up?
I will take you guys from here. We'll go to Whataburger and we'll get the A1 thick and hearty. That shit, you'll slap yourself. It tastes so good. It's that
Okay.
fucking good.
All right.
We're gonna keep
Fair enough.
our
I'm
opinion.
hungry, too.
All
Open.
right, 2.0. We're gonna give it another shot.
Yeah. And then
All
we'll
right.
do another podcast. I'll have to
And
fucking
talk
come all the way
shit
back
about
out
it.
here
Yeah.
to tell you guys to admit on air how amazing this fucking burger is.
Fucking A. Oh goddamn, I love it. All right. Again, I appreciate you guys coming. I know you had a fairly long trip to get up here, but I know the dude bros and the chicks are gonna fucking love this episode. It's great story. Glad you're back safe
Yeah.
more than anything. I know
Thank
I
you
was
very
worried
much, man.
about you, and I actually when I texted you right after I heard you got back, I didn't figure you'd respond honestly, but glad you did. Glad you're back. Appreciate the story. To all the listeners, as always, I appreciate your guys' support. Without it, we would not be able to do what we do, and it's because of you guys that we get to flap our gums. So appreciate it. Go to tricos.com and teamdog.pet to see all of the products. I'm not going to walk you through all of them, but teamdog.pet. If you own a dog and you haven't signed up and you're listening, you know the deal. Choke yourself. Because you need to be on that shit. So check out all the other products. We've got a bunch of stuff coming down the pipe. And until next time, this is Mic Drop.